Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker and its teaser trailer made its debut 5 days ago over at Star Wars Celebration Chicago, leaving fans speechless about what they heard at the very end of the footage, which was of course the laughter of Emperor Palpatine in the background. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about this movie that a lot of people are puzzled over is, of course, exactly how Emperor Palpatine is going to return in this film. Now, so far from all the various leaks that we've been going over these past 6 months, give or take, it has all been holograms, vision sequences, dream sequences, and even Palpatine in a different type of realm that is very similar to the Worlds Between Worlds. However, I want to go over something very exciting involving George Lucas. Now, these past couple of weeks ago, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to Episode 9, the great thing about this movie, J.J. Abrams, etc., is that George Lucas is the one who actually approved exactly how Emperor Palpatine would come back into Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. Now, mind you, the return of Palpatine, Kathleen Kennedy confirmed this just yesterday, was actually planned for years, ever since The Force Awakens. She actually just confirmed this yesterday, right before when she confirmed about the Knights of the Old Republic movies that are currently in development. She also confirmed that Palpatine's return in The Rise of Skywalker was planned ever since The Force Awakens. So that's what Kennedy had to say. However, it was still unclear at the time of exactly how he would come back, and George Lucas played a role in all of this quite recently, within the past year, for Star Wars Episode 9 and talked with J.J. Abrams, Kathleen Kennedy, etc. So, what's great about this is that not only do I think that this is going to give a great reason for people to trust in J.J. Abrams and to really look forward to seeing this movie, the fact that George Lucas was loosely involved in this film, or lightly involved, I should say, I think honestly is a great thing. It's only a great way to do things, right? It's a great way to handle it by JJ. I mean, this is the final film of the Skywalker saga. It's a huge deal. You know, after all, George Lucas, if it weren't for him, we wouldn't have Star Wars, period. We wouldn't have the TV shows, we wouldn't have the toys that the kids love, we wouldn't even have anything related to the movies. So, with that being said, I will say one thing. When we look at Star Wars as a whole, we do know that this whole entire movie is going to have a lot of twists and turns that is going to have saga-wide implications, and of course earth-shaking twists and turns, as said by Richard E. Grant during the Radio Times show. So to hear that George Lucas actually was the man who approved exactly how Emperor Palpatine would come back in Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is great news to me. Now, as a fan, I love George Lucas. Everything that he has put together in the original trilogy is gold. Were there problems with the prequel trilogy? For sure. In my point of view, and this is just my opinion by the way, and I'm sure a lot of you guys will agree, Revenge of the Sith was a stronger film than Episodes 1 and 2. Sure, Episode 1 had the iconic Duel of the Fates lightsaber duel, and sure, Episode 2 had the epic duel between Yoda and Dooku, as well as Anakin and Obi-Wan going up against Dooku. However, I believe that nothing can top Episode 3's lightsaber duel between Anakin and Obi-Wan in the prequel trilogy itself. So, with that being said, guys, I'm very happy that George Lucas was not only a major role in deciding exactly how Palpatine would come back in this film, but I'm also very excited on how he directed just a couple of scenes for this movie involving Luke, Rey, and Kylo Ren. Now, you guys may or may not remember a couple of months ago, there was a lot of talk about this movie, how Disney and Lucasfilm are really using this film as a course correction to the sequel trilogy. I think that they know about the backlash, without a doubt. I think that they believe in it, without a doubt. They just can't flat out say it, and they have to say what they say during interviews and press and all these different things, right, when they're interacting with customers. So, when we look at Episode 9, we also know that this movie is a big deal not just for us, the Star Wars community, but also for Disney and Lucasfilm as companies. You know, this movie really does determine the future of the Star Wars franchise and where things are going. Why? Well, look at Solo: A Star Wars Story as a great example. You know, that movie, it didn't do well at the box office. Even Kathleen Kennedy admitted to this just yesterday. However, her excuse for that was, of course, they released 2 movies in 1 year, which honestly I think the real reason was The Last Jedi backlash. But moving past this, you can see how much they changed just from the Solo: A Star Wars Story box office results. You know, they got rid of all the solo films that were centered on single characters, like Han Solo, for example, and they changed their entire future. They had 10 years of movies in the works, and now Kathleen Kennedy said that they are starting over. They are just beginning to start over. She is planning 10 years worth of Star Wars movies as we speak, and this all starts with 6 movies, by, of course, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss and their trilogy, and Rian Johnson and his trilogy, which honestly I'm looking more forward to the Game of Thrones guys, obviously. But let me know what you guys have to say about George Lucas and his involvement in Episode 9, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.